What's up, friends of the good mood? This is Money and welcome to this month's battle montage for VEGA conflict and war robots at the same time, because you guys know that I had to change my approach on my channel, refocus and, you know, basically step down from making way too much stuff and just focus on two main projects, which is War Robot and VEGA conflict. So both games will now have their place here. For those who are only interested in War Robots, just skip ahead to maybe 7 or 8 minutes. I'm going to add, you know, a comment to the video where you can skip directly into War Robots if you're absolutely not interested in VEGA conflict. But what basically this monthly battle montage is, normally it comes at the middle of the month, and this time I think I know I'm late at the end of the month here. But yeah, this is basically just me showing the best battles I had over the month with some awesome music and commentary and just making sure you guys are entertained, okay? So also at some point in the video I'm going to start thanking my patrons for their awesome support, right? Because that's how I currently basically live with my channel. I have those awesome patrons supporting me, allowing me to put that much time into it, and I'm going to thank them, okay? For now, let's concentrate for a second here on the footage that we can see. You can tell that it's a little bit older footage. It's not the latest content because there is no Xeno Division inside, right? This is just Demon Core. And this used to be the highest possible stuff you could have. These fleets are used to dominate everything. And yeah, it was kind of interesting because he got a fleet here that is, you know, it has no counter really, because his cruisers counter whatever counter the battleships, you know what I mean? So what I did, I just completely tried to ignore the cruisers. They did do some damage though, but not really much. They didn't even kill one of my cutters there. And I just fly away now, and I killed the battleships, the carrier, and leave those two cruisers extremely vulnerable back there. And in the end, they got killed by somebody else with battleships, and they were not even allowed to fire once anymore, because, you know, what are cruisers going to do alone against battleships that outrange them, right? So that was pretty cool here. It was absolutely useful to do it that strategy. If I had attacked those cruisers, I would have probably lost my entire fleet in the process too, and so this I didn't have to do. Let's go into the next battle right away. We have a fleet of, this is my fleet, Einstar Company with Hurricane frigates and the Dominion carrier, and I also have one destroyer in there. That one destroyer is not really changing much, but at least if I have a fleet completely only cruisers, then I can try to make some use out of that destroyer, you know what I mean? So what I'm doing here, I'm just trying to fly away with the carrier, but of course it's completely worthless. On all, you know, cutters is manifold missiles, so all squadrons are constantly being taken down, and I can't really do much with them. The only thing I can do is just try to occupy him or keep him busy for a few seconds. Now, it gets interesting now because I have the unskilled reactor on this cutter. And I guess he expects that because he now turns away. He doesn't want to kill that cutter. He rather wants to focus on those things here. Meanwhile, my destroyer with 500 DPS is still firing in there and also penetrating on some occasions, dealing twice as much damage with the Gatling Rays Infernal version, of course. And here it is, this Hurricane frigate is now going up in flames, and this is gonna be awesome, because I have it stationed here. You can tell, look how much distance there is between these ships, alright? And look what's happening. 48% hit points on the enemy fleet, boom! 26% hit points now. So we've taken 22% of damage into that fleet just with exploding of that one frigate. And it took away, let's go back once more, it took those two cutters with it, the ones up and down, and all others took damage. All enemy 6 ships got full damage blast by this unskilled reactor, and that's why I call it the unskilled reactor, because it really doesn't require any kind of skill. You just send it into the middle of the enemy fleet, and he's got a big problem and can't really do much about it, right? And yeah, so here we go. I just completely obliterated that fleet that normally would have probably been stronger than my fleet if it wasn't for that unskilled reactor right there. So let's go forward. Next battle. Here we have the same fleet of mine that is still heavily damaged. We still have only three frigates, right? This is just 3 Hurricane frigates right here. And I believe I realized I was being attacked because I was being attacked from in the background, and I did not notice that. So unfortunately, I already lost a whole bunch of shield energy, right? I wish I still had full shield energy, but that was unfortunately not the case. So I'm flying away, but I'm actually watching this, and I'm turning around at one quick moment where I was thinking that maybe he doesn't realize when the moment comes when I'm starting to turn away, right? And that I managed to get him with this. Because normally I wouldn't really be able. Whoa! That unskilled reactor even took a big chunk of damage into that vigilante too. I killed one of them. The other one is still flying away trying to dodge, but it gets killed anyways. Boom! There we go. And it's just pretty brutal to see how that completely damaged fleet with 3 frigates, no acceleration field, still gets, you know, 60% damage done to that fleet right here. 40%, I'm sorry. Still 40% damage done to the fleet. That's pretty cool. And this was because I was able to just, you know, surprise him. I chose one moment where I quickly turned around and he was not ready to you know, send the battleships away. Here we have a fleet of my friend Sin Davy, who's he's I think in Goat 1 by now. He used to be in KGB back then, which has nothing to do with the Russian government or anything like that. It's just the it's what is it called? The come on, help me out. It's the small alliance of the goats, right? They are the KGBs, or were. Now they, I think, are called KID, right? So this has changed. It's, like I said, it's a little bit older footage. But nonetheless, I think it's actually more interesting than just seeing Xeno Division fleets beating each other with 5 times as much damage, but 5 times as much health as well. And then very much, like, a lot less strategy involved in the combat today. If you ask me, that's my impression, that you need less strategy these days than you had back then. I think it was an more interesting combat. And interestingly enough, when we were at that time, we were looking back at the times with VEGA and VSEG and you know, missing that time because that even required much more strategy than this, right? It's interesting, man. Here he's taking down that battleship, pretty brutal there with those squadrons. The enemy did not turn sideways and therefore let the squadrons deal the full damage. Here there comes another pack of squadrons. Oh, man. Oh, God, they're coming in. Up. They got destroyed. Oh man, those Dominion carriers, they were a game changer. You remember that, right? The new gameplay was born when the Dominion carrier came and had 3,000 something DPS on mark upgraded versions. Suddenly fleets didn't have to actually use their own weapons and hit points and shields anymore. They were just sending unlimitless amounts of squadrons and doing the job this way. This, I guess, was one of the moments when it stopped being a skillful thing, right? Here we have 2 squadrons. They're just gonna completely eliminate that Hellfire battleship, no problem. Pretty damn hard, man. Oh boy. Alright, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to disappear now in the lower right corner. I'm going to thank my patrons and show you some awesome footage from War Robots, okay? I'm using the Schütze, which is called. It's a small robot, very fast and very small. It looks like something that could never do anything to you. But I'm mounting like the most powerful weapon onto it, and you're gonna see what it does to you, to my enemies. Alright, so enjoy. Hopefully you enjoy this one, guys. While you guys hopefully enjoy this footage here, I want to express my biggest gratitude to Sin Davy, Wadenbeißer from the Rough Rider Division, as well as one more anonymous person, and Toxic, Bam Bam from GOO, my friend AI from Goat, and Anubis DFL from Oops Skulls, and not to forget Maya from Aussie. Is that still up to date, Keule? Then Risky from the Rough Rider Division 2, Moongod from Goat 2, Enezi from Oaegis, The Big Kebovski, Stanley, Chris Shandel, Cass, Will from the Elite Alliance, Luke 34 from Senior Hunter's Resurrection, Eric Rawlins, Wizard Prank, Omega Cybran from Whelp, Rob Gagnon, Dave from 1ABV, Damien from Goat 3, Miasma from the Silent Death Force, Sixkiller from Band of Madness, who are, if that's still correct, recruiting active players, right? Batu of Nexus from Downfall, and as always remembered are also Bob Honeycutt aka Scorched Earth, Sephiroth 3000, and one more anonymous person. Thank you guys so much for your help. I'm currently trying to do what I've been doing in the very beginning, more guides, farming tutorials and things like that, because I think that's what I'm really good at. But of course, tons of awesome battles materials for both projects, War Robots and Vega Conflict, are still in the making. So the video's not over yet, guys. We still have a ton of additional footage that I want to show you and comment on for you guys. So let's do this right here while I'm still showing some patrons who still support me a lot on patreon.com. For those who don't know what that is, by the way, there's a link in the video description where you can check it out and see the page. And this is like one of those very, very direct ways where you can support me in what I'm doing, right? Wow, look at this little pattern right there. I dodged just in time out of the rocket salvo that he was about to fire at me. And now that he's empty, I'm coming around the corner again and whooping. And that's pretty, I like that Schütze. I've already shown it to you in 1 or 2 videos, guys. I really like that little Schütze. It's a very fast running thing with only one big shotgun on it, right? It's just a giant walking shotgun, that's all it is. So it really doesn't do any damage unless it gets really close to the enemy, which, of course, with this speed, I can, you know, influence pretty easily. So guys like this, for example, who have, instead of the shotgun, a heavy cannon on it, of course have a higher range. You can already do some damage at a long distance, but, you know, once I get close to them, and on this map here, that's really not very hard, I can just destroy them so fast, because the DPS output and damage per shot with this Thunder, that's the shotgun, what it's called, it's just astronomically insane. It's just so crazy. So here we have 2 more people. What I'm doing here, I'm just sticking out my cannon out of the thing. If you want to shoot me now, basically most of your shots still will hit the ground. I can hit this pattern, this Griffin right there, even though his shots are mostly going into the ground, right? And I'm not sure what I did, but I got him so mad that he walked into his death. You just saw that, right? Oh boy. Alright, we're still here, we're still doing damage, and another really good thing about the Schütze is that although you do lose your legs, or you get leg damage at somewhere around the 10 to 20, 15% damage mark, so from this point on you might be walking slower, you can see it right here. Although that happens, you never lose your cannon. I have never ever had it so that I'm walking around and have no cannon on this thing. Since there is only one weapon and it's a heavy weapon slot, you keep that weapon until the very last moment. So there's no danger of losing this thing for, I don't know, taking damage. So here I'm just trying to squeeze some damage in before I die, as much damage as possible. But the outcome is inevitable, I'm going to die. But hey, it doesn't matter, we're right in the next match with another Schütze here. I'm just showing you the Schütze this time, because I do think it's one of the bots you can get very early on, and it's a lot of fun. If you were to ask me if it's, you know, in retrospect, was it the best idea or the right decision to get the Schütze, I'm not quite sure, because, you know, the Boa is also really fast, but has a lot more hit points and an additional weapon system, right? But that can also mean that it loses its Thunder earlier and has no shotgun then when it's at 20%, for example. But, you know, it's also not that fast. But it's still a really fast bot, and it does pack a punch, right? With more hit points and all that. So it quite has something for it. So I guess the Schütze or Boa are one of those 2 weapon system or bot systems I would suggest you guys to do in the early stage of the game. And look how beautiful I fell into these guys' flank to come from behind while they're firing at something else, and I'm just coming and ruin their day completely. That guy that was here with the guy firing at his pattern there, I totally saved him here. He's down to low health, but I totally saved him by coming in from behind. You can tell that, look, he's already, like, he lost 3 out of 4 weapons on his bot. He must be at like 1% health. Oh man. And I'm sure he would be destroyed by now if it wasn't for our support. But I guess he should probably be bailed out of his bot and get a new one with more weapons. I wish you all a beautiful day and see you all in the next videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and comment down below. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe as brutal as a man can hit for more. Thanks for bearing with me. You guys are awesome as always. Manni-Gaming signing off. Bye-bye.